All right. Welcome to a very special Dwelling of Duels stream. I'm your host, Evil Sonic. With me tonight is the banner artist for our upcoming Mag West special, the Wii U week. To my left, right, to that direction is Akalink. Akalink, welcome. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing pretty well. I think I'm doing good. I'm really excited to be here, to be honest, and that's really clouding my judgment of my perception of myself, so I don't think that's a bad thing.
There's nothing bad ever about anything. Especially when we're talking about DoD. DoD,
Okay.
some people think of DoD as a US government department. Other people who know better understand that DoD stands for the Dwelling of Duels. It is a place where duels dwell. It is a video game music remix competition that has been going on 22 years strong, and it is a wonderful little corner of the internet where we have a month, or sometimes when there's a special in-person event, we'll have a different amount of time to arrange, record, mix, and anonymously submit music that fits that contest theme. Usually we have our regular contests that go for a month. Every so often we've got a live in-person event. We've got our VGM Con. We've got our Mags, both West and Fest. And in just over a week, we are going to be having our Mag West special. There's going to be a live listening party in sunny California. I believe that is... Okay, so specific time, it's going to be 9:30 at night, which that sounds like a good time. For decent people of the world, it's going to be like after midnight or later. Or for people like Akalink, it'll be like 11:30.
Yes, it'll be welcome past my bedtime, and I'm just going to have to deal with staying up that late to hear all the bangers.
And they're bangers they shall be. Songs that will be mains, not alts, exceeding 1 minute, but not exceeding 3. Did that rhyme?
I think that's correct.
Sure, let's say it rhymed. And the theme for Mag West, which Akalink did the banner art that rocks so very hard, is Wii U Week. And technically it's not a week. We had a little bit longer for people to work on those tracks, but I won't lie, when I had the idea of calling it a week and spelling it W-I-I-K, I have literally not thought about anything else since. It's been like 9 months since I had the idea. There were birthdays, there were holidays. I wasn't paying attention to any of that. I was just sitting in my basement thinking about Wii U Week. And Akalink did the banner art that brought the dream alive.
It's a very inspired idea, in my opinion.
So, we're going to talk about things related to DoD. We're going to talk about Akalink's history with music and video games and video game music and art, the banner art. I also invite all of you to stay tuned. After our interview today, we are going to have a very special first time we're trying this out. I hope it doesn't suck and I screw it up, but I'm pretty sure I figured it out. A live reveal of the Mega 10 month entries, as well as the reveal for the August, the month of August contest. I'll be showing the banner art, and that'll be exciting and fun. As I say that, I realize there have been live reveals whenever there's an in-person party, but we're just going to try it out. We're going to see how it feels. See how it fits, And speaking of fits, this just arrived today. I've got my very fine and fancy brand new DoD 20th anniversary t-shirt. This is from Threadless. It feels pretty comfortable. I'm not breaking out into hives, which has happened when I've put on shirts before. So those are some pretty good criteria and benchmarks to meet. Yeah. Aka, you wanna dive in and talk about stuff?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. Let's get rolling.
So, akalink, you have submitted a few times to Dwelling of Duels in like the past yearish or so. You're kind of new to the scene that I'm aware of, but I'm also very confined to this corner of the internet. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, as generally or specifically? I can throw out some questions. Ooh, the man's got a good one. The man wants to know, where did the name akalink come from?
Okay, well, that's a story. When in like 2004 or so, I had to. There was this promotion from Nintendo. You could buy a Nintendo GameCube and get the combo pack that included 4 Zelda games, and I played like 2 Zelda games at that point, and I was hooked. And I wanted to play like Majora's Mask the most because that one I couldn't play it on the Nintendo 64 because I didn't have the expansion pack, and I also really wanted to play the originals. I only played Wind Waker and Ocarina of Time at that point, which I only played through the GameCube. So I found out I could sign up through. I could subscribe to Nintendo Power, and as a promo, I could get the game. So I signed up. I had to sign up online, and they're like, "You need to make a screen name." And I had Zelda so etched my brain at the moment. I was like, "Okay, well, I guess." Also known as Link, and then over time that just shortened into akalink, and that's the story.
Nice. I was just talking about Nintendo Power. Oh, so this was also in 2004. That I was So I was introduced to DoD in 2004 by Atomic, who we were just texting this morning, talking about like parenting brought us to Nintendo Power, and Atomic said, and I'll quote, "Fuck, I miss Nintendo Power. Do they still have the Game Tips hotline? They should." I'm gonna guess they don't have the Game Tips hotline anymore. I do remember that from that documentary that I watched. But I suggested that if they don't have that up anymore, we should start it up again. And if we did that, it would just be our friend Peter Googling the answers on how to beat video games. So definitely worth making a 900 call and paying like $4 a minute or whatever it is. So yeah, akalink, that's a fun screen. I love those stories about like, because sometimes the names that we come up with are very like purposefully meaningful, or sometimes they are randomly meaningful. I don't know if you feel like the akalink origin falls in one of those categories or the other, or somewhere in between, but I know I came up with Evil Sonic because I was like, I need like a video game handle if I'm signing up on the shiz, and I was playing a lot of Sonic Adventure 2. I'm like, oh, Shadow the Hedgehog, he's just like Evil Sonic, right? So, da-da-da-da.
That's a great game.
It is a great game.
Not a bad idea to lift. Not a bad game to lift an idea from at all.
And over time, I've like adapted the story. Like Evil Sonic, I kind of think of as Twisted Sound, and it's a thing that I totally intended that.
And I've had my screen name for 21 years now, so I must like it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's old enough to drink. Which
You're
I'm
right.
doing
I
right
wish
now.
you didn't tell me that, but no.
No, doesn't that stuff just fuck you up sometimes? Like, what is
Oh
it?
yeah, right now I'm just like,
Um, the movie No Country for Old Men is checking out colleges. Um, or like starting their first year of college. That's crazy.
that's crazy.
So, one of the other things I remember when we first reached out to ask if you were interested in doing banner art was that you had said that you had an interest in doing something if it involved Zelda. And so your screen name obviously has this Zelda background. If I was to go out on a limb, I might assume that you enjoyed the Legend of Zelda games. Is that a fair assessment? Is that something that's been there your whole life, or did you come by it later on?
I mean, I didn't really play the games until I was a little bit older. I started kind of with Wind Waker. I saw in Nintendo Power, oh, they were doing a promo. If you pre-order Wind Waker, you'll get Ocarina of Time and Ocarina of Time Master Quests. And I was shown Ocarina of Time in the past as like, you know, like on the schoolyard, like, hey, this game is really cool. I need to show you it next time you're at your house. And they show me to it. And they show me like Hyrule Castle Town completely destroyed, out of context. They pull out an instrument and it does magic. And I'm just like, what is going on? I am intrigued. This is really cool, but I have no idea what's going on. So whenever I see there's a new Zelda game coming out, and you get this game that I was told is fantastic, I'm like, okay, I'm getting into it. I try it, absolutely hooked. I actually played a game that's kind of like Bomberman, but it's also like Link to the Past, and it's also like Pokemon called Bomberman Tournament. I played that first, and I really liked that game. And then when I tried Zelda, it ticked all those same boxes. And then since then, I've tried to get every single Zelda game that exists. I have like hard copies, like the original copies of like Link's Awakening and the Oracle games and all these ones. I mean, a lot of times I just go to a secondhand store, and I'm like, show me all your Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, and I just like, oh, there's Oracle Seasons. I will buy that for $4. Thank you very much.
So it does take me back. I also like my Zelda origin story was that I was a Sega kid growing up, so I missed the NES and Super Nintendo games, but I did have a Nintendo 64. Everyone was talking about Ocarina of Time. I think that was before Smash Brothers, so I hadn't like. I played Ocarina before I played Smash Brothers. I'm pretty sure. But the first game I played was Ocarina of Time, and I was 11, and I got like to Zora's Domain, and I got distracted or frustrated or whatever, and I just stopped playing, and I didn't pick it up again until I was like 18 or 19. So in my mind, my life has followed Link's arc. Like I started it when I was 11, and then time passed. So obviously I'm like the hero of time. Tony Dickinson just came in with a raid.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
AKA Pud. Pud, not a dud. What a lovely bassist that dude is. So what other games did you play growing up, or like what was your first console, or?
Yeah, so my first console I think my dad for Christmas gave me a secondhand Sega Genesis. It was like the Model 1 with the headphone jack, which I'm really glad it had because I really liked a lot of the music in like the Sonic games and just do the sound test. And I would play the music over and over again, and my dad would just like, "Can you put on headphones?" And I'm just like, "Yes, I can put on headphones." But yeah, I think I'm trying to remember the games that I came with when he got it. I believe it was Road Rash, Burning Force, and Jurassic Park.
Oh, nice.
Which Jurassic Park, if you try playing it to get today, you're not gonna have a good time. But when you're like 10, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, so at this point, the Nintendo 64 was already kind of like near the end, so I was pretty far along. I liked the Sonic. When I was very little, I really liked the Sonic cartoon, like the one that all the YouTube poops are made out of. And so I saw Sonic the Hedgehog in like Funko Land, and I was like, I want that. Can we get that? And I played it, and it was great. I was really bad at it, and then we later got Sonic 2. And Sonic 2 is still one of my favorite games. That game is so good. After that, after playing like Mario Kart 64 and Mario 64, especially Mario 64, I was like, I need to get a Nintendo 64. So my dad helped me basically use it as a teaching tool to learn how to use eBay and like how to do auctions. So I bought through eBay a Nintendo 64 with Mario 64, and since then I think I've like beaten Mario 64 like 20 times and gotten all 120 stars like 10 times. So I think I like that game.
Yeah, I love that. I've only gotten 118 stars.
You know what? Skill issue.
Yeah, I gotta work on that. I can't remember what the two were. I'm pretty sure it was like a secret slide or something, or maybe it was like all the coins and the clock level.
Yeah, those two, that's fine. The secret slide one, yeah, I know there was the last one I couldn't find. I needed help when I was like 12.
That's what you get Nintendo Power for.
Yes, I mean, it was 2001 at this point, so I made it a little late to the party. But yeah, it was, I think someone told me, and it was like you had to beat the level in like a minimum number of seconds, which now I can do it just without even thinking, but it was pretty scary when you're like a kid.
Yeah.
Like, what if I fall off, lose a life?
I know that feeling. So how did you come to the video game music community? Was DoD your first entree? Were you active in other places before you joined us here?
Yeah. So I touched on it a little bit earlier how much I liked like listening to the sound test on my Sega Genesis. Really liked video game music, and I wanted to play it as I got into band and I would try and figure out stuff, but I really didn't have that good of an ear yet, so didn't really work out. I kind of learned video games live because my piano teacher, who I found piano sheet music online, and I printed it out and I gave it to her. It's like, hey, can we play Dr. Mario? This song's cool. I know it from Smash Brothers. And so she knew I liked video game music, heard about video games live, called my mom's cell phone, left a voicemail, and she's like, hey, you should check this out. So I check it out. I mean, video games live kind of has a stained history now, but it was a big deal. Just like, oh, this exists. It's a orchestra concert where you can hear video game music. And so like a few years later, I finally got there. It was in San Francisco. It was also the time where I learned my dad used it as a teaching tool me learn how to navigate public transit. So I walked to a bus stop, got on a bus, took me to a light rail, got on the light rail, got on the train, got on the BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit, took me into Aramacatero. I walked up Nob Hill, saw the concert, and then my dad picked me up at like a light rail station because he's not going to make me do that in reverse. I learned about OC Remix, I think, through like the insider forums. I don't remember exactly. I wanted to do some OC Remix, and I'm just like, OC Remix is kind of playing by a beat of their own drum, and I don't really play by that drum, so good for them. I'll do my own thing. I did some stuff with Materia Collective in the late 2010s, and then that's like that's how I met some of the people who are currently active in DoD, because they were also active in that. And I don't know, it's kind of scattered. I got a lot of I was wanting to work as a video game composer for a while, but I got burnt out. I just as a person don't have the stamina to do that kind of career. So I was like, I'll just do video game music on the side and not make it a job. And I like doing that a lot more, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And still trying to get over just like massive burnout that just happened trying to pursue that type of that career path. But like, it's happening. VGM Con in just a few months ago was a massive, just huge healing factor for me. Just being able to be around people and just enjoy playing music and being able to play with people, super nice, super fun.
That's excellent. That's one of those things I love about this community, is that it's got a very active online presence, but if you're lucky enough to meet your people and do something in person, then that's really special. That's a big part of how I got into it. Back when all of this was on the message board, the shiz, I think the big thing were there were some concerts, especially in the Philadelphia area, and there were some shizzies out from like Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, like Amish country, that we hung out at their house one weekend when there was like a Mini Bosses concert in Philadelphia, and like a lot of shizzies were in Amish country. And it was just kind of like a surreal weekend where it's like we're going to the First Unitarian Church basement to watch a video game music concert, and the next morning we're like driving past horse and buggies looking for a Waffle House.
There's a thing that I listened to religiously in like high school. It was Zelda Reorchestrated. I feel like I needed to just insert that throwback because that isn't really a thing anymore, but that was like a big thing when it was around. Just a whole bunch of Zelda music orchestrated to sound like a real orchestra, but like done with samples. Nowadays, like everyone just has really good orchestra samples, so back then it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I wonder if that was there was like a 4-movement Zelda orchestral thing that I remember from VG Mix. I don't know if that would have been at the same time. VG Mix, I mean, anyone who knows that was a while ago. But yeah, it was like a 4-movement thing. I want to say it was like 16 to 20 minutes total. I hope I have those files somewhere still. The man, we're gonna miss you. I hope your doctor's appointment is half as fun as our stream. So yeah, video games, video game music. The next thing I had some questions on is your history around art and the making of art. We've been talking a lot about the making of music, so how about making of art?
Yeah, I mean, so it kind of is a recent thing. I always kind of poked around with like sprites and Spider Source, but 2D art is one of those things where I really, really appreciate, but actually doing it, it's like I'm having a good time, and then it quickly it's like I don't want to do this anymore. Um, I don't know. It feels like it's like when you want to go to the gym, and the first time you go to the gym, it's like, oh, this is great. Then you're 5 minutes like, oh, this is awful. And then like next time it's time to go to the gym, you don't want to go to the gym again anymore. But in 2020 was the release of Blender 2.8, and that's really important because you may have noticed that there's a lot of like 3D animation on YouTube now, and that's why. As Blender 2.8, it made the UI of Blender not suck. Like it was really bad. Some people disagree. I disagree with those people. But when Blender 2.8 came out, it was like it made Blender as a software, which is a free 3D open source software, kind of like Maya, 3ds Max. 3ds Max. I'm blanking on that. But it's kind of like that, and it tries to do a bit of everything. It's not the best at any one thing, but it is so approachable because you can just download it, and you can even download it as just like a zip file and run it, which I do sometimes if I need a newer version of Blender. So I started messing with that. I was doing stuff in VR chat, so that was a good place to take anything I made in 3D and throw it into VR chat. It's VR chat. You use Unity, so any 3D assets, for the most part, work. So I started messing with Blender. You can easily put a character into a game through VR chat, and this kind of you just like working on music, you just get better over time, and over time I just kind of went, okay, VR chat's cool, but I don't really want to deal with it anymore, and you just kind of go all into Blender most of the time. So I think one of like the coolest, like the best advertisement for Blender as an art software is Worthy Kids, like Big Top Burger, all the different animations. Same with like Glitch. I'm pretty sure he's Blender, or she's Blender. I'm Glitch and like all that stuff. It's all done in Blender. I'm pretty sure, and it's so cool. I don't really like animation, so doing renders is a lot more fun for me, though I'll still make animations to make like my Discord emotes. But it just gives me a good thing to mess with, and I don't know, at least with the way I approach art, you work with shapes more and silhouettes. So if you can get something that works in like a 4-tone or even a 2-tone, like imagine a Game Boy, but you minus the 2 colors in the middle and try to make that look good. That's like a good exercise for art, and I really like that. And art is kind of like my sister's an artist, so she's like, oh, that's really cool, and encourages me, even though she doesn't do anything with technology. She'll do art with her hands. She's a mixed media artist. So I was never discouraged from trying stuff. That was kind of a weird way to answer the question, so I'm sorry.
No, it's a great answer. You gave us a pretty good rundown of how you came into it, and this might matter, it might not, but you mentioned that the version of Blender that came out that sort of changed things was in 2020, and I don't know about if this is true for you or maybe for the community that blew up around it, but people suddenly had time on their hands in 2020 and they were exploring new things. And I don't know if that's one of those happy little accidents where the software leveled up right at a time when people were trying new skill sets or entering new hobbies or things like that.
Yeah, I think that is a great point. I don't remember the exact date that the software came out, but I think it may have been January or February. It was when that update dropped,
Hmm.
which was before lockdown.
But it was waiting for us.
Was waiting for us.
Exactly. So had you been doing? You said that your foray into art was more recent. Did it really kind of pick up when you had that Blender experience, or had you been doing things before that?
I messed with stuff, but it's as I mentioned before, it's kind of like you go into the gym. I mess with it for like a weekend, and then I abandon it, which is a lot of like it's a lot of downloading sprite sheets from the Spider's resource and trying to make edits and messing around, stuff like that. Just like downloading art, like fan art or something, and just kind of trying to edit it in certain ways, in just to try and figure out how it ticks. I don't know. Maybe that's just a me thing. I like dissecting that type of stuff.
I don't think you're the only person in this community that probably feels that way. I kind of imagine there's a healthy cross section of the people that like taking video game music and rearranging it, and just in general having an affinity for taking stuff apart and seeing how it works and putting it back together again.
Yes.
It seems like there's a healthy amount of overlap there. Have you done any professional artwork, or is it still strictly hobby, or is there anything in the pipeline where you're trying to do more things professionally, or?
I'm trying to keep things to be a hobby. I think just from my experience trying to work as a composer, I want to keep things that I enjoy as a hobby, and things that are work as work. I don't want to make my hobby my job.
Yeah.
I have done commissions and just done little things to help with 3D art stuff, but nothing that is like I'm financially responsible. I need to do this or else I can't pay my rent type of thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, here's a few extra $100 so I can buy a game or something.
Yeah. I know that feeling, and I feel like I aggressively try to keep some distance between professional stuff and fun stuff. For a number of reasons. I work in an industry where anything you get paid for is pretty strictly scrutinized, so it's just easier for me not to get paid for anything video game music related, because then I gotta call the home office in Philadelphia and explain where that $26.02 came from, and I'm like, oh, that's 5 years worth of sound drop. I'm just kidding. I've never seen anything come from sound drop.
Same.
But that's a whole other thing. This is probably a good time for us to do a little bit of the artist slideshow.
Yeah.
You shared a few pieces, so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna switch our screen to this, and you can walk us through what the images are that we are seeing in front of us.
Yeah, I have the stream up, so it'll be a second. Okay, so I did So one of these is really recent, and one of these from a year ago. The one on the left is recreated, I guess the bird brain Teto, and I had a lot of friends who were like, you need to listen to this music video, and you need to watch it, and I did, and I was like, okay, well this is going to be in my brain, just etched in my brain for like a month straight, and then the one on the right, artist drew. There was the trying to remember. So it started with Brazilian Miku. There was fan art of Brazilian Miku. What would Miku look like if she was Brazilian? It blew up. It blew up everywhere. Everyone made their own versions of Miku, and someone drew a Midwest Miku, and I really liked it. In fact, there were two artists who drew Midwest Miku. So I combined their takes and made this version. So the one of the versions, she has like a purple plaid shirt and has the kind of cat girl hat and the glasses. I added the Minnesota Pride pin at the top. Good old Midwest state. The other one had like a cross necklace, had the fishnet gloves, fingerless gloves, the red plaid, the kind of short shorts and low cut shirt. The one thing I wish that the other one I could have put in was the other one had a Telecaster, and that was pretty cool. It was like a Midwest punk rock type of vibe. So I just just Midwest Miku. What if Miku lived in, I don't know, Wisconsin or Michigan or Minnesota?
Nice. All right, you ready for the next one?
I'm ready for the next one.
All right. Let's see. It updated for me. There it is on the stream.
I'm just awaiting. All right. So this was, I had an idea for a VRChat avatar. I wanted to make a cyborg character. So this is what I came up with. Had little etchings on like the legs. Had a cybernetic arm. I based the face off of like various emojis. I was able to put some fun things into it, like the antenna. When you move around in VR, like in VRChat, it bends around. It even has like a overlay that I made a custom shader for, so you can see what faces you're making. But overall, yeah, it was like, okay, I want to make a cyborg. What can I do? And I just made like this kind of blonde girl who's a cyborg. Actually, a thing that's really cool is there's a big arm cannon in the arm that comes out, so you can hook it out and you can point your arm and fire like Samus power beam like shots, which doesn't look as cool as Metroid Prime, but it works.
Very nice.
We can move to the next one.
All right. This one's going to take up the whole screen.
Yeah. This one was really fun. I wanted to recreate the Sonic Adventure 2, like the original Dreamcast one, with May, and just have like the dark colored May alt. So I made a May 3D model, kind of in my style, and I just wanted to do, what if Sonic Adventure 2 but of May? And that's
May.
what I came up with. And you can have
Very
Evil May instead of just Evil Sonic.
I love the background stuff too. Like the...
Yeah, that's what I just like looked up. I went on Google and just went Sonic Adventure 2 background. And someone The Sonic fans are a different breed. Someone actually just recreated the background. So I wish I had credit, but I don't remember who did it.
Very cool stuff. All right, ready for next one?
I am. There we go. Yay! It's a shark. I call her Sharkuni Miku. And I was like, what if Hatsune Miku was a shark girl? So it was a fun little experiment, kind of making Miku into a shark furry. A fun little detail is there's like the shoes have paw prints in the bottom, so if you look at the feet, you can see little dog paw prints. You can't really see it in that picture, but like the O1 is on like the left arm, like regular Hatsune Miku. But yeah, that was a fun little experiment to do. We can move on to the next one. It's kind of just like a simple mashup. Oh yeah, I made a maid character, and I was like, what should I do? How should I pose him? And I was like, let's do like the Sonic meme where he's like alone on a Friday night. God, that's pathetic. But I was like, that's too mean spirited. I'll make it honestly so based. So you're alone. Honestly, if that's what you want, go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. So, fun little joke. I love making little jokes like that with and imposing characters when I do Blender renders.
Yeah. That's fun. It's excellent stuff.
Yep. We can keep moving.
All right. So I think that was the last one. So next up, let me just check my notes. I think next up, this is the part that you said that you were most excited about spending some time on. So
yes,
I want to make sure we got to it with some time to spare, and that's this month's banner art. And I'm gonna switch from the two cams, I'm switching. Here we go. Transition to this scene. There we go. It'll take a second, but
yeah. Let me know if it's up on your end so I can start talking about it.
Oh yeah, we got it up here. This is the Blender file.
This is the Blender file, which means it's in 3D.
Oh, nice.
So, fun little thing that you'll notice immediately is the cables aren't connected. It doesn't really matter in the shot because it's covered up by the tablet, but like they were never connected. And honestly, I didn't want to have to deal with that. With all the effort to make a realistic looking cable plug into the Wii U tablet. But yeah, this is a whole Blender scene, and I'm like, one of the first things I wanted to do was like, me actually show all the different pieces. So like there's lights and there's a camera just takes the picture. But yeah, one of the things I was like, I immediately wanted to do is like, okay, the Dwelling of Duels just rocks. Like we have so many guitarists. It's not the only thing we do, but it's like if we got stereotyped, it would probably be making the guitars. So I was like, there's got to be a Dwelling of Duels guitar amp. It just has to exist.
I love it.
But another thing that really stood out for me, because I listened to, since I pretty much joined, I've gone to like every listening party. So the first one was like the dance the rhythm game month. That was my first month that I got to listen party, and then I entered from there with the Forest vs. Jungle, and then it was DS month. I didn't participate in Megaton month, which I'm glad I didn't, because I kind of got sick in a way, and I wouldn't have really been able to. But I've also have some FOMO because there were some really good tracks, and I wanted to participate. But I'm digressing. One of the big things that I've noticed was how pretty much every track, with only few exceptions, there's collaboration. So I wanted to, if I can make it work, I wanted to put multiple characters in the Blender scene to kind of represent how Duels people collaborate together. So I was originally just going to have Kirby in here because I don't really like the game. I know some people probably like it a lot. I don't really like Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. I played it. I got like 3 worlds into it, and I went, I don't like this game. But it's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful games I've ever played in my life. So I gave Kirby Melodica. I went in there. Next, I did Inkling's Iconic. It's like 3 games now. Inkling started on the Wii U. Perfect choice. Super Mario Maker started on the Wii U. Perfect choice. Tokyo Mirage Sessions started on the Wii U. Perfect choice. I was thinking of doing Link from... My first idea was to do Link from Breath of the Wild, but then Megaton month happened, and I guess Carrie, thank you. I'm just like, you know what? I should do something from Tokyo Mirage Session. So I believe I never played the game, so I believe her name is Tsubasa, and if I pronounce that wrong, I'm very sorry. But I was like, okay, I'll look up references, find the characters, give her a flute, have Inkling on the bass, just have an instrument way too big for the character, make it very funny, give Mario a tambourine, give Kirby a melodica because he's all about that breath support.
I love that.
Well, yeah, as I developed this. I first pretty much made the Wii U tablet because it's like it's Wii U week. We're gonna need a Wii U tablet. It's the most iconic thing when you think of a Wii U. When you think of a Wii, you don't think of that brick shaped, almost a Wii, but it's black and sometimes white. You think of this tablet. So my original idea was to have the screen be like an actual screen, but have a clay tablet. That idea looked terrible, so I instead made everything clay. The screen doesn't really look that clay-like, but it's not gonna be perfect. I'm sorry. But yeah, there's all the characters besides Kirby is a rig character, so I can go into this and just move Inkling's arm around. The weight painting is not great. Weight painting is attaching mesh to armature. It's like how you are as a person. You have a bone, and it moves your flesh around. That's not as like natural and in computers. So you have to say, okay, your forearm is attached to your forearm bone, so that moves together. And so when you move like stuff around, it isn't great, but like I just needed to pose it so it worked, so it looks good in the render. How to get this clay-like look, because if you have probably noticed that everything I generally do is toon-like, this is more clay-like. So now I get to talk about shaders, which are kind of like synthesizers. I will explain that in a second. So a synthesizer, if you are not familiar, takes a frequency made by a computer, and then it does stuff to it, and then it makes a sound. The most simple one just makes a sine wave. When you're doing graphics, the most simple thing you can make is like, I think it's a noise pattern, which is just like equal distant dots and stuff. With this, I'm producing a musgrave texture, and then everything is connected. So this is the white texture. Let me actually find the black one. So this is the texture color. It's just text code that goes into the roughness. And so you're trying to emulate the look of like, you paste it together by molding it together with clay, and then you put it together and attached it. So you can affect how the light reflects on a 3D object by affecting the normal. And the normal is just like, I think I could just go like this, and you can see that looks wonky, it looks weird, but basically that color indicates what direction the light will be. And so there's variation in that color, so the light is reflecting in different ways. You can see other things have also changed. So I'm going to switch that back. So that's what it's doing with the normal. So the light reflects onto it and bounces back all which way like it's been pasted together. Doesn't really look great on the Wii U tablet, but it looks pretty good on like most other things. And then you can also affect, I'm also affecting the roughness. So certain parts are more smooth than others. So parts where there's like a thumbprint or like a fake thumbprint is going to be less reflective than stuff that is more smoothed out. And so you can affect that in the shader by just having black and white. So when things are black, it is as smooth as possible. Roughness is at max because you said no. It's like between 0 and 1. So 0 is black, 1 is white. So you can see here it's pretty rough, but there's still some gray. And so that's just like a very, very fine difference between what's smooth and what's really rough and what's not so rough. Another thing that's really important is, like you can see on Kirby here, I have a displace modifier. I haven't talked about modifiers though. Modifiers are like effects plugins, but for 3D objects. So I can just disable it. Actually, I can take that one off. So if I disable that one, you see Kirby is kind of blocky here. So this is a subdivision modifier. It basically takes things and it increases the polygons and then smooths it out to make things more circular and round, smoothed out. The displace modifier will basically take parts of it and just kind of move it slightly, so it makes things look irregularly shaped. So I'm going to try it on this one. So you can see that Kirby's eyes change shape. I have a mirror modifier, so it's mirrored. I don't have to recreate it every time. Having the displace modifier after it makes them not look exactly the same. So it's a really good way to make it seem like it was made by a human and not by a computer, because computers can do things perfectly. You just need a color, and you just bucket fill, boom, perfectly red, which is not really that impressive because you can just computer do it. You do it on a piece of canvas, it's really cool. You do it by hand. It's just little tricks like that. So you can see with the Wii U that it has that kind of bumpiness to it. So I turn off the this place, and suddenly it looks like just like text, but I put it in this place and it looks like that a person tried to get it perfect, but like it's not quite perfect. I can do the subdivision and suddenly it's all blocky. That's the kind of thing that the subdivision modifier is really good at. It allows me to keep the geometry simple and easy to work with, but then have it look smooth. So another fun thing with the okay, let me do that. So like this one, this wood does a similar thing. It is producing a musgrave texture and noise texture. It's taking colors and is pumping it into here to create this, basically this procedural wood texture. Because this isn't like an actual picture of wood that was made into a texture. It's all computer generated. It's like trying to make an oboe sound out of like a synthesizer. It's not quite right, but like it's close enough. And I really like that metaphor, especially this group. Is most like what we just had that stream with Matt Matat about Vital. So it's just like that's a synthesizer. Once you get into this, it's a lot simpler, but like you can see if that same information gets put into this bump map, goes into the normal, so you can go into here, and that wood grain will pop up. See, there it is. You can see that little differences, and if you actually pull up, like on Google, a wood grain normal map, it won't look too dissimilar to that.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So it was with Inkling and Mario. So I mentioned Spider's resource. There's also a models resource. There's also like sound effects resource and like a bunch of other stuff. There's a resource for almost everything. Like there's a whole family of those websites. So I was thankfully able to find the original models of the Inkling. I've used this like Smash Brothers Ultimate version of Mario, and I just kind of traced over them like in the same sense that you trace over a picture with drawing. I just imported the model into Blender and just modeled over it and just did it slightly different just so it didn't look perfectly exactly like the original ones. Just like, okay, this is how it would look like if it was made of clay. When I do stuff that is more cartoon shaped, there's a lot of little tricks of putting stuff that are inside other things, and because of how I mess with the lighting, a lot of times that the lighting is completely unlit. Unlit is a confusing term because unlit means that there is no lighting. So basically, if something was like bright, like as bright as possible, it would be. It would just be that color. It wouldn't be any variation. When you have stuff that is lit, it is affected by lighting. Unlit means it's not affected by lighting. So it's not perfectly. It's not like all black. It's just. I can actually just show you. So I'm just make a sphere. It's this one. I'll make a new shader. Let's call it like white unlit. And then I can go into shading. I can add a RGB node, which is just a color. Pull it into here. Make it as white as possible. And you can see when I like have this rendered mode, isn't affected by lighting. It's just perfectly white, and I can make it red.
So it's like a
And
circle.
again, it looks like a circle. But if I go and
that's so
then
cool.
if I make it like this, now it's affected by the lighting. Let me shade it smooth so it isn't just like low poly looking. So you can do stuff like that, and yeah. So usually I do stuff like that. When I'm doing the clay look, it is all using it's using physically based rendering, I believe. So everything, instead of like doing stuff inset, which won't work in this type of situation, everything is kind of placed on top of each other. So you can see like Kirby's eyes. There's Kirby's body, and then there's like the first layer of Kirby's eyes. Then there's the second layer of Kirby's eyes. It isn't like these layers are within this 3D model. It's supposed to look like there is a layer of clay on top of another layer of clay on top of another layer of clay. So I'm like trying to think of how would this be done in the real world, where when I'm doing 2D looking stuff, cartoon stuff, I'm more thinking, how can I trick you into making this look like a drawing? So it's just, you have to really switch how you think about something. I do that in like music, like, okay, how am I going to approach this? Like I like when you sequence something, you're probably thinking, okay, I just need to play this or just input this into the piano scroll. But when you actually arrange something to be played, you're probably also thinking, okay, I want this to sound like this, but I also need to be able to play it. And you end up thinking about that. So, which is like why like it's like this. Am I going to see the end of this? No. Is it hard to get this to go all the way from here, then up again up to here? Absolutely. I'm not going to do that. That's going to take way too much time, and I'm not going to have one time either. So let's not do that.
Makes sense.
Lighting is hard. I'm still trying to learn lighting. I'm getting better at it, but it's slow going. I think when I first started, it was like so like completely washed out. It was like this. And I was like, oh, this looks great. And then like 3 days into it, I'm like, what am I thinking? This does not look great. This looks like it's so overexposed. But yeah, it really just makes you think about different aspects. Like before this project, I honestly didn't think about camera that much. Now I'm just like, oh, I should really. When I was like looking up how to get a really good shot for like a claymation style, it was like, okay, you have to have a long focal length. You need to have f-stop and all these things so that the background is like blurred out, and you do that and it looks like something that's miniature.
That is so cool.
And it's just all the little pieces that you just kind of learn, and it starts to come together. When I first started learning 3D, it was like a lot of like, let me import this model and mess with it. Okay, I understand how these parts work, and then you just amass knowledge like your Smog in the caves, hoarding treasure, the treasure's knowledge, and you just slowly build it up. So, I have a Wii U, so actually creating a Wii U like a Wii U tablet, like a Wii tablet, wasn't that hard. I just could hold it in my hand and hey, does look like this? Yes. No. Also, a fun thing you can do in Blender is you can just drag and drop an image into it. So I have like just a whole bunch of images. Like I think this is like it's like a Marshall amp. So Wii U, you can use it to make it's like a really good shot to just take music. Like a lot of those pictures that are like uploaded to like Sweetwater and stuff, perfect for modeling over. So it's actually really easy to, in my opinion, to model musical instruments. I think I had like a bass guitar or something. Yeah, there's like a bass guitar. Yeah, there we go. That's what I just modeled over that, and just whatever I could get. I didn't want to put too much detail into it because I've modeled guitars a lot and I like modeling. You can just, I'm not, excuse me, my brain is like, which way to kind of go. So I'm not sure if this is the best, but like there's a paradox of measuring coastlines. The more detailed you get, the longer the coastline gets. So there has to be at some point, you have to stop with like how detailed from point to point and point to measure the coastline. Because you can just make the coastline like as long as possible because you're just going here to here to here instead of here to here to here. And so in the same way with 3D modeling, you just get to decide how much detail do I want to go, and like I don't want to model the screws. That's too much detail. No one's gonna see it. In fact, in the finished part, you can't even see like the pegs. And I modeled the pegs on Inkling's bass guitar. Yeah, if you may zoom in on the bass guitar. I can't select it. There we go. You can see that there's pegs on it. That's not, the pegs are not in the render, so, I mean, I don't really feel bad about that because I kept moving where I placed the character. It was like, oh, I'm gonna have Inkling right next to Kirby, and you can see the pegs, and now make some space here, and you can have 4 characters in here.
That's really cool, and it's an interesting counterpoint to the cable to nowhere.
Yeah, there's no point in making details if you are not going to see them, but like sometimes you just don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes stuff just ends up on the cutting room floor, and nothing you can do about it. I mean, I'm glad that it still exists because I can just use the model for other things. That's the nice thing about 3D is if you want to reuse something, you can just take something and import it into another project.
Yeah. This is really cool. My mind's blowing a little here.
Yeah. I mentioned this before, but if anyone wants the Blender file to like mess around, or you just want like the tooling of Duels guitar amp and just pull out of the project, it's not a problem. You can just message me, or we can put it somewhere in the Discord. I don't think it's a very big file, and I have Nitro, so it will probably be fine for me anyway.
That's excellent. That's that feels like, kind of a mixing breakdown sort of thing. We've had production chats where people get feedback on their mixes and they share stems and do their own versions of it, and I think it's really cool that there's kind of a 3D art equivalent.
Yeah.
But
the first thing I noticed when I looked at an animation timeline was it looked just like a dot timeline.
Yeah.
Like there's like little dots, and it looks kind of more like a piano roll, but instead it has little diamonds instead of little rectangles, but like very similar until you start getting into curves. I don't like animation. It gets too wonky, and I'm not really good at it. I have huge respect to people who do it, Don't get me wrong.
That's excellent. Is there anything else that you want to share with this month's particular art tonight? Or just
Nothing I can
chat
think
have
of.
any questions for Akka?
Yeah, I would really love to see questions.
The chat seems almost universally just flabbergasted at how intricate and cool this is, and I'm squarely amongst them.
Yeah, it's Blender is one of those softwares where it's a lot of softwares you can kind of just go into it and just mess around and learn it. And Blender's not the case. You really need to go and find a tutorial. If you find a tutorial, don't watch the Blender Guru, because it's like 20 something videos to just render a donut, and that's way too much. You can do it way easier. He's very comprehensive, but I don't think it's a great tutorial. Just kind of like, I just start learning the keyboard shortcuts. Like Shift A is just add a object, any object. I can add a plane. Tab, you can switch into edit mode. You can also switch into other modes by hitting Control Tab. And you can also just do it here. You can move stuff by pressing G and then press Z to only move on the Z axis or the X axis or the Y axis, and you just press Z, X, and Y, or rotate on the X axis. And that type of thing just takes time to learn. And I mean, we're all musicians. We know that perfect practice makes perfect. And so you're just doing things over and over again, just putting your 10,000 hours in goes a long way. And, it's been 5 years, 5.5 years. I don't remember. I can't math. Since 2020, so I've had half a decade to do this. So if it's kind of like, this is breaking my brain in a category, that's probably why. It's like, this is a lot, but trust me, you'd be surprised what you can do if you kind of just know what to Google, know what to find YouTube videos of, and there's stuff. Like, I think I watched a Daniel Kraft video. His big thing now is he's like, I made a subscriber button for Mr. Peace or something like that, but he did a video where he broke down every single Blender Blender modifier, and I was like, I think I only got out about 1/4 of the different modifiers, but that was a huge thing. It really, really helped me to learn what these do.
That's so cool.
Yep. Having an open mind to try new things, no matter what medium you're trying to learn, goes a long way.
Exactly. And it's
another. Oh yeah.
No, go ahead. I was just rambling.
Another fantastic thing is, because Blender is open source, I have a ton of little tools that help me with workflow. So one of the things I like is I can add an object, and then I can select this object, and then instead of having to go to this object and add all these modifiers, I can just copy that to the selected and copy that to the selected. And I never have to manually. I can just do things once and then and then I never have to manually do it. So it's a big time saver. Stuff like that. It's like how in Reaper you can download user created extensions to improve your workflow.
Yeah. All right. This is excellent. I think we've got to wrap up for tonight, but any other parting thoughts, whether it's Blender or this month or video games or music or video game music? And if, without spoiling anonymity, do you have any games that you're really looking forward to seeing get covered for the Wii U week?
Oh yes, absolutely. So I saw this covered once in the Forest vs. Jungle week, and it was Xenoblade Chronicles X. I absolutely love that game. Want to see more covers? Just it's that game is wall to wall bangers, like the Primordia and all the different regions. I mean, I played it once in like 2015, and it's a 80-hour game, so I'm not really inclined to play an 80-hour game again. But it's good. I go on YouTube and just listen to the soundtrack. The Black Tar is just great. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles X. Excellent. Please, I hope someone does something from that.
Fingers crossed. All right, well, Aka, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I definitely understood like a very small fraction and not like a ton, but it was just really cool to see it described and or see you put it into play as you were describing what it was, and to see all these things together. And it definitely does feel like a DAW. So I don't know how many people watching tonight are gonna dust off their old Blender files or hit Aka up for any of those files to share of this project, but I hope there's at least one person out there that says send that my way. All right, Aka, forgive me. This is the first time I'm not just ending the stream, so I have to figure out how to kick you out. But like in an appreciative way for your time and expertise, and just very grateful that you have shared all this with the community. But
yeah, would you like me to disconnect from the technology that we're using to connect?
I think the Sonobus would be the big thing, and then I'll switch the cam. But Aka, thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. This has been a lot of fun. This is why I like doing these streams.
Thank you so much for having me on. I getting to nerd out. There's a reason why my little Discord clan thing is nerd, because I'm a big nerd. So, not that we aren't nerds here.
You're not the only one. All right. Good night, Aka.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and... all right, now... I've got my things here. There we go. All right, so... that was akalink. Thank you so much for that banner art breakdown. We still have this sliding in the back for a little bit. We are going to try for the very first time, or I'm trying this for the first time in this particular format of doing a live reveal of the results from Mega 10 month. And even as I'm getting this prepped, I can see that it's a little bit askew. So I'm going to try to fix this as quickly as I can. That's good. But we've got 25 main tracks. We're going to do a slideshow to the best of my ability. So we're going to see everyone's scores and places. We are going to update the website in real time. How cool is that? And we're also going to show off the banner art for the August contest. So we've got a bunch of things, and I'm just vamping right now because I'm doing the very exciting work of centering text on a slideshow in PowerPoint. I know there are other ways to do it, but I couldn't figure that out in the time that I had. So we've got PowerPoint. What's that? Am I stalling for time as I change the size of these text boxes in PowerPoint? You bet I am. Thank you, DoD, for putting up with my... Oh man, it's so close. Almost done, almost done. And then a few more seconds and be figuring something else out. But here we go. So close we can taste it. Slideshow. Okay, no. Switch the display. I don't want you that big. You go there. Alright. This is about to get really cool. And by really cool, I mean a little cool. In 25th place, Dostaton's Digital Devil Egg story. I'm not going to read these all off, but... 24. Slyman and the Anonymous DoD Contestant. Average plus 17. 23, we've got T-Bone 5. 22, Emerald Arcana and Heel Ring. Above average, minus 45. 21, we've got the Flurry of Sound. Above average, minus 22. Number 20, we got Extrinsic, Kev Ragone, and Matt Matan. 19, the Rocket Knights, Slowly Crushed, and Paradiddle's Josh. Welcome to the Black Velvet Room. 18, Hydrosphere. Shine on, you crazy DoD. 17, By Score. DoD's professional Megaten fanatic Carrie Wood and Ian Cal. Why did I try to pronounce the one thing I couldn't say? Above average, minus 3. Number 16, we got Sumask. Above average, minus 1. 15, Barbell Yaga. Rivers in a Desert. Number 14, AC Menace. One of those, or a different one. Gamer of the Winds, Warp Whistles Music, and Cosmic Bartender. 13, Hat. Beneath the Mask. Number 12, Merton. The Battle for Everyone's Souls. Number 11, Valence. Last Bible 111. aka Last Bible 3, Distant Memories. Number 10, we got Endless Repeat. Number 9, Matt Matat. Persona 4, above average, 31. Number 8, Ian Martin, Andromeda, Ursa Starsong, and Alex Hill, The Whims of Fate. Number 7, JMR, Arc Stroll. That was some chiptune goodness. Number 6, Slowly Crushed, Kev Ragone, Shay's Violin. Another Bible, Persona 4, Persona 5, A Quiet Path. That's good. Got some good in there. Number 5, Kyotter and Rhubarb Nido, Grim Reaper's Hoedown. Number 4, Admix, Chimpazilla, Make a Note. Make a Note, we're getting into the top 3. Emunator, Arya McKay, and Lost Tree. Bronze medal, congrats on the Velvet Reverie. Silver goes to Dual Tech, Jay and Wake, and Minus World, Demon Fusion. And last but not least, the gold medal goes to the Crazy Eighths, Lucas Gameras, Zach Parrish, Pixels and Paradiddles, that's Pixel Steph and Paradiddles Josh, Persona 3, Death's Last Dance. Good -02. Third Koopa, what? You just learned that your track golded. How about that? Congratulations to everyone here tonight. This was fun. People should let me know if I was a bit much for this here slideshow, but yeah, I had fun doing that. I hope you enjoyed this live results reveal. What a great month. That was a ton of fun. And you know what comes after last month is next month. And for next month, let me see here. Yep, we're gonna do the banner art reveal. This is from Lauren the Flute. August is Koji Kondo month. Long time coming. What a great theme. What a great banner. I love this. And if you can see just in the middle there, you can see on the drum, the kick drum, it says, "Hi, I'm Daisy." And that was, I think the man did a little sneak peek of that. I don't know who's everywhere. We got Peach on keys. Is that Navi playing the tambourine? We got Zelda on guitar. Daisy's on drums. Who's singing? Who's playing bass? I don't know, but this is really excellent art. I love this banner. Akalink, I agree. I also love this. That's not Navi. Oh, is it Saria? Yeah, that's right. I'm an idiot. Thank you, Naup. Rosalina on bass. Yeah, that makes sense. That is okay. I saw the star and I thought Kirby, but that was dumb of me, cause that's not Kirby. And who's singing? Is that Melon? Okay, that makes sense. So Lauren the Flute is going to come on. We are going to confirm the date soon, but I think we are aiming for a Thursday night. I think we're doing a tentative Thursday, August 14th, but don't put it in pen just yet. Put that in pencil. Lauren the Flute, banner artist breakdown for Koji Kondo month. Don't forget, we've got that Wii U week coming up. We've got Koji Kondo. Double bonus points if you cover a Koji Kondo song from a Wii U game. If you do that, please make notes of it in your submission form. Otherwise, I don't know, it'll confuse me, and I don't like being confused. So I think that's everything on this night. It's so yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you again to Akalink for that incredible banner artist breakdown. Thank you to Lauren the Flute for Koji Kondo month banner art, which is very exciting. And thank you to all you dwellers and duelers, those 25 tracks of mains, those 4 alts. Oh, and I forgot, now that the results have been revealed, I can click the enter button, make upload all. And the website is building. Did it work? I think it worked. Refresh. Oh, come on, why is the banner art not there? Banner art's never there when I ask it to be there. Anyway, I'm going to fix the website, or I'm going to wait until someone else fixes the website. And in the meantime, thank you all for keeping it right here. This has been Dwelling of Duels, Duels, Duels.